Welcome to Smalltalk Daily for Monday, December 14th, 2009. This morning I thought I'd take a brief look at the difference between threaded API calls out to C code and blocking or non-threaded calls out. What this means is that, let's take an example. Let's go here to the parcel manager. What I've done is I've loaded two pieces of support from the database libraries. I've loaded ODBC and Oracle. And you notice for both there's an EXDI and then a THAPI EXDI. THAPI stands for Threaded API. So what that means is when you make calls out through a threaded API, an operating system level thread is allocated, and that means that the system doesn't block while that API call is happening. If you use the non-threaded interface, either to a database library or your own code, when you make a C call, however long that C call takes, the entire VM is just sitting there waiting for that C call to happen. If you don't want that to happen and the interface you're calling is thread safe, let's show you how to do that. Here's an example of a blocking call. We have the SQL alloc connect from the ODBC interface, and it's just doing this: return code, C API, and the arguments. If you wanted to make the threaded version of that, it's going to look awfully similar, except that right after the return code comes underscore threaded. And this is not how you do all return codes. This just happens to be the type def for that particular API call. So you have underscore threaded right before the name of the function you're calling. Again, you need to make sure the API you're calling is thread safe, or else all manner of bad things could happen. If you make threaded calls to things that aren't thread safe, you could just crash your whole system into the ground and lose data. So don't do that. But assuming the API you're calling is thread safe, and many APIs nowadays are, especially for things like database libraries, this will ensure that the system itself doesn't block while you're making that API call. So if you wanted to have a background database call fetching a whole bunch of data while the user interacted with stuff that's already in the system, this is how it's done. And you can do this with other APIs, again, so long as they're thread safe. So that's about it for today. Until next time, have fun with Smalltalk.